King and Queen will visit the Chelsea Flower Show later today ahead of its opening tomorrow. That comes after the King was announced as the new patron of the Royal Horticultural Society. He's taking over from his late mother, who was patron for 70 years. Our Royal correspondent Daniela Ralph reports.
Chelsea ready after months of planning. There is a wilder, more natural look to many of this year's gardens. Some of the more elaborate offerings have taken weeks to build on site. At the heart of Chelsea this year is the next generation of gardeners. 72 schoolchildren will be amongst the Chelsea judges for the first time, selecting the Children's Choice Award. A group of pupils from London have also designed this kid-friendly space for the Royal Horticultural Society. With a den and a slide, it is the No Adults Allowed garden. And there's some mentoring going on too between budding gardeners and experienced hands.
It's really peaceful. You can just take your mind off other things and just relax, really.
I'm loving it. I'm loving the fact that there's going to be another little Eric coming up through the gardening ranks, and that you've started younger than I did. So that means you're going to be even so much better, which is brilliant.
Some say love, it is a river.
Serenaded by Alfie Boe, the Chelsea pensioners get their own flower this year. A scarlet rose that will raise money for charity. The flower is described as tough and hardy. As ever, there is a certain glamour to the opening day of the flower show, with celebrities sharing their gardening triumphs and disasters.
Well, not my wisteria, 7 years in and there's still no flowers, so I'm hoping to get some tips today on how to get those flowers to bloom.
I've just been updating my vegetable patch. I'm now tackling cucumbers, courgettes. I've also got tomatoes in and lettuces, and I've always been scared of lettuces because of the slugs. So I think it's going to be a busy year with going out after dark trying to pick them off.
I have to say it's coming from the wilderness, which is my garden, into thought out, careful, beautifully planned, colourful. My garden I love with all my heart, but it had to get away from me this year because I've been away so much.
The King will make his first visit to Chelsea as patron of the RHS later today. He'll see flashes of colour. But with a wet and warm winter, many Chelsea regulars have flowered early and are now finished. The preparations for the show have come with challenges this year. Daniela Ralph, BBC News, Chelsea Flower Show.
Well, let's take you to one of the gardens. We can join Charlotte Gallagher, who is there. A lovely day in London today, Charlotte. Hope you've got the sunscreen on.
I've got plenty of sunscreen on. In fact, I just topped up about a minute before we came on air. This is a gorgeous garden, isn't it? This is the Terence Higgins Trust Garden. The people behind in high vis, they're the junior judges. So the person who designed the garden might be a bit nervous. This is Matthew Child.
They're a hard crowd, those
kids.
Yeah.
They're going to be tough.
They
Matthew, this is incredible. What inspired you?
So, as you said, the garden's for Terence Higgins Trust, and a lot has changed in the last 40 years when it comes to HIV in the country. And we really wanted to tell that story because they have a vision that by 2030 there'll be no new HIV cases in the UK, and everybody living with HIV will live a long, healthy life. But the biggest barrier still is stigma. So this garden is about turning around all of that to create a real positive space. We were inspired by rejuvenated slate quarries, which kind of tell of resilient planting. So that starts down at the very beginning of the garden. We go through a hopeful, colourful palette of plants, and then we end up in a cool terrace surrounded by lovely Welsh slate walls where people can come together and make the vision a reality.
Thank you so much, and it is gorgeous, this garden, and it's going to have a second home. It's going to go to a sexual health centre in Croydon. Lots of these gardens here are going to go to different places across the country, so if you can't come to Chelsea, you might be able to enjoy them in other locations.
Looks lovely, Charlotte. Let's hope the weather holds too.